Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar, Keep Your Manufacturing Secrets Confidential. I'm proud to introduce our two expert speakers today, Melissa Sayers and Megan Moore. Melissa is Registrar Corp's Drug Division Manager with over 10 years specializing in SPL format eCTD submissions across US FDA, Health Canada, and multiple European-based agencies. Megan is a senior regulatory specialist with Registrar, assisting companies with FDA regulations and compliance for over 10 years. She specializes in master file submissions. Throughout this webinar, feel free to write any questions in the Q&A box, and we've saved time at the end to answer them. We'll also follow up with a link to the recording so you can refer back to it at any time. Without any further ado, Megan, take it away.
Thank you, Alexis, for that introduction. In today's webinar, we will go over what are master files, which regulatory agencies around the world use them, what type of documents are usually included. Although fees are not too common with these sort of submissions, we will advise on when they do occur. We will give an overview of how the submission process works. Electronic Common Technical Document is a commonly used complex format that we will touch upon briefly in today's session. And Registrar Corp is industry's leader in assisting companies with compliance for various regulated products, and we will share at the end how we can assist. So I'm going to start us off today by going over the basics of what master files are and how they can keep your confidential information confidential. A master file is a voluntary filing to an agency in support of an application being reviewed by that agency for approval. So say, for example, you manufacture an active pharmaceutical ingredient or API. You have a customer that uses that API for a new drug product, and they are submitting a new drug application to FDA for approval. Well, FDA is going to want to know everything about your API. Who makes it? Where is it made? How is it made? What are the process and controls for that API? However, you don't want to share all your trade secret information to your customer for this application. This is where the master file comes in. You may file a master file about your product to FDA. Your customer can then request to reference the master file in their application. And then FDA can see all of the information they need from the master file without it ever being shared to your customer. Master files can also be submitted for different types of products as well, depending on the agency, such as for containers, excipients, and flavors for a regulated product. Again, master files are voluntary, they're not required. They are neither approved or disapproved. Instead, the application that's referencing them is what gets approved or disapproved. Master files are also used in different industries such as biologics, drug, food, medical device, and even the tobacco industry. So now that you have an idea of how master files are used, we will cover who's who in the master file world. The company that submits the master file is called the master file holder. The company that represents the master file holder is the agent. So while an agent is not required for master files, it's often encouraged for foreign master file holders to assist with communication with the agency. The company that is the customer who is referencing the master file in their application is called the authorized party. Some agencies that accept master files are the United States Food and Drug Administration, the Australian Therapeutics Goods Administration, China's National Medical Products Administration, the European Medicines Agency, Health Canada, the Heads of Medicine Agency, which includes individual European agencies, the UK Medicine and Healthcare Regulatory Agency, the World Health Organization, and many more. So what type of documents are usually included in a master file? Typically, there's a cover letter that serves as an introduction to your submission. So that's where you would include what kind of submission you're doing, such as an original submission, or if you're doing an amendment. Some type of application form may be included. If you do have a customer that wants to reference your master file, then you should include a letter of authorization, or it's called a letter of access by some agencies. Typically, there is a statement of commitment confirming that the master file is current and accurate. Basic contact information for the holder and the agent, if an agent is appointed, should be provided. That typically has the company's name, address, a contact person for that location, and that contact person's email address and phone number. So if an agent is appointed, then there's going to be some sort of agent appointment letter confirming that the holder is designating an agent for that master file. So the administrative documents that we just covered, normally there's a template from the agency for them, so you don't have to prepare those documents all on your own. For the quality information in the master file, there's usually tables of contents to help navigate throughout the submission. There's going to be general information about your product, including the manufacturing detail. So while we have a general list here, it's important to note that each agency is going to have its own set of requirements. So do you have to have an authorized party in order to submit your master file? In some cases, yes. For certain agencies, such as Health Canada, Australia TGA, most of the European agencies, and the World Health Organization, you must have a customer that is going to reference your product in their application in order to submit that master file. Otherwise, for example, with the FDA, you can submit your master file first with no letters of authorization, and then you can submit the letter of authorizations later when you do have customers that want to reference your master file. So are there fees to file? In most cases, no, but we do have a couple scenarios listed here that we're going to go over. So for US FDA, only type 2 API DMF master files that are referenced in an abbreviated new drug application incur a one-time GDUFA fee for that DMF when a letter of authorization is issued for that DMF. And the fee that the agency may charge, it's different each fiscal year, but it only needs to be paid once for that master file, only one time. And the fee is incurred either when the letter of authorization for an ANDA is issued for that DMF, or if the master file holder knows that their master file is going to be referenced in ANDAs, they can go ahead and pay the fee to start the completeness assessment process. And basically, the completeness assessment is where FDA reviews the master file to determine if it's adequate to support ANDAs. And so once that process is done, FDA includes the master file on a list of master files available for reference for ANDAs. But again, in all other scenarios for FDA master files, there's not going to be any submission fees or any fees at all. Health Canada does charge user fees for certain submissions. So each time you're submitting a new master file, each time you're submitting a quality update for a master file, you are charged a user fee. And for each letter of access that you submit, you're going to be charged a user fee. Anytime you have a new customer that needs a letter of access, or if the letter of access needs to be updated, say for example, your customer's name has changed, then you're going to have to pay the fee each time you submit a letter. And the fee increases annually by 2% each year on April 1st. But again, in most cases, there's not going to be a fee charged by the agencies for master file submission. So how are master files submitted? In some cases, paper format is still accepted. This is where you would print out paper copies of your documents and put them in a binder and then mail that to an agency. Or alternatively, you can burn an electronic copy to a CD or a thumb drive and then mail that to an agency. But what is preferred is electronic submissions. So electronic submissions are electronically compiled and submitted to an agency through a submission portal, or in some cases by email. The formats that may be submitted electronically are non-electronic common technical document format, or NEAS format, electronic common technical document format, or eCTD format, which is compiled in an extensive software, or electronic non-eCTD format. So what is the most common submission format? That would be eCTD. So why is eCTD so popular if it's compiled in an expensive software? Well, one reason is that it organizes the information under standardized, internationally recognized headers. So in the example we have here, the general information about your product can be broken up into nomenclature, structure, and general property CTD headers. And these headers are the same as what is being used in the applications referencing the master file. And so that way, the master file and the application are organized in the same way. Another reason is that it's just easier and faster for a reviewer to look through an electronic submission. So for example, eCTD submissions are made up of PDF files, and they have bookmarks and hyperlinks that make it easy to find certain information, as opposed to trying to look through hundreds or thousands of pages of paper. And another benefit is that the agency receives the submission faster. So when you mail something in, you have to wait for it to be delivered by mail. And in most cases, the only confirmation that you're going to have that the agency received that submission is your own tracking information. But with eCTD and other electronic submissions, you will receive documentation that the agency has received your submission, typically within 24 hours. And most agencies are requiring eCTD format, and they're phasing out paper format altogether, and mainly because it is so much easier to review an eCTD submission. So once you have a master file, what do you need to do to keep it active? Well, for some agencies, such as the US FDA or China NMPA, you're going to need to file an annual report around the anniversary date of the original submission. This report just contains basic information such as the current contact information, the current list of authorized parties if you have any, and the list of amendments since the original submission or the last annual report. It's also important that your master file is kept up to date. So when you have new customers that want to reference your master file, you need to submit new letters of authorization or letters of access for each new party. If the contact person changes, you get a new agent, or your company name changes, then you need to submit an administrative amendment to update the contact information in your master file. If the quality information in your master file changes, such as updates to the manufacturing process, or maybe you want to add a new product to your master file, then you're going to need to submit a quality amendment to update that information in your master file. In addition, agencies may request additional information about your master file at any time. Typically, these requests are in support or when they're reviewing an application that is referencing your master file, and they may need additional information to complete that review. So typically, the agency will send out a letter with questions to be addressed, and it's important that you respond to all of those inquiries in a timely manner. So now that we've covered the basics of master files, Melissa Sayers will provide information about Registrar Corp's solutions for master files.
Thank you, Megan, for your awesome guidance on master files. Master files are a great way to keep your company's information confidential in application filings with your customers. Registrar Corp has additional solutions to help support you in this endeavor. Let's learn more about them. If you have questions, our experts are available to speak directly with you. We have years of experience with filing with multiple regulatory agencies around the world. Our experts specialize in ensuring that your submissions are in the required format. Without this expertise, delays can occur that can put your customer's application on hold for approval until resolved. With our expertise, you know your submission is going to be processed in the required format, resulting in not delaying your customer's application because of administrative details. When handling your confidential files, our top priority is when you choose to work with us is keeping your data secure and confidential, as it should be. How does Registrar Corp keep your data secure? We are elated to share that Registrar Corp is the only ISO 27001 certified compliance company. This information security management standard is recognized at a global level for information security management systems. Companies can state they follow the standard. Registrar Corp is certified, proving it follows and has systems in place to continuously monitor, ensuring we keep this certification. The systems put into place protects our clients' data, including trade secrets, formulations, manufacturing processes, submission data, and so much more. We have a site that shares how we secure our systems. We make this information available to you so you know when choosing Registrar Corp to handle your highly sensitive data. We take protecting it seriously. We use the secure gateway systems provided by the agencies to file your submissions. These systems, especially when you file to more than one agency, can be cumbersome to set up or manage when people come and go. You do not need to worry about these technical details when using Registrar Corp to compile and submit your master files to a regulatory agency. We do not only assist with submitting to the agencies, but with the United States Food and Drug Administration, we have in place secure email communication. A secure connection must be established with the United States Food and Drug Administration for certain correspondence or questions you may want to ask the FDA. Registrar Corp has this. You can save time and have us securely contact the FDA on your behalf. Registrar Corp can act in two capacities. For some agencies, we can act as your agent, where we not only assist you with compiling your submissions and filing with the agency, but we can assist with relaying communications from an agency to you. Otherwise, for all agencies, we can act as a transaction partner, where we only assist with the compilation and submission of the filing and do not handle communications with an agency. When filing, we can assist you with compiling a new submission or convert an existing filing into eCTD format to make it easier for your customers' application review process when they reference your master file. Once your master file is filed, we are here to help you with further compilations to keep it active from deficiency letter responses, amendments, annual reports, or authorizing access to your master files for additional applications for your customers. Or have you previously filed a master file and require assistance with obtaining files? We have a service with the United States Food and Drug Administration to submit a Freedom of Information Act known as a FOIA request on your behalf to retrieve those files. Our services are limited to administrative review, where we ensure that the format of the submission meets the agency's requirements. You are responsible for the content to be filed. We have a secure portal for our customers to easily access their submission files. You do not need to create your own system to maintain submission files. You can easily download your submission data that has been filed with a regulatory agency. This system is amazing for when people change at your company. With the proper confirmation, authorization can be granted to your colleagues at your company. You do not need to worry about looking for files from a previous colleague or figuring out how to reach an agency to request a copy of files, which in some cases costs money and very rarely a prompt response from a regulatory agency. Registrar Corp has more solutions to help. We assist with facility registrations, product listings, adverse event management software, label reviews to ensure your labeling is in compliance. So we also offer a wide range of training opportunities for compliance topics. So even though we are based in the United States, we have more than 20 offices globally. Contact us to learn more about these various services we can help you with. Thank you all for your attention today. We now have a few moments to answer your questions that you may have after learning about how master files keep your manufacturing secrets confidential and how we, Registrar Corp, can support you. If we run out of time, we will follow up after the webinar to assist you with your questions. So Megan, I see we have our first question. What type of documents do I need to prepare?
So typically, the submissions are done in PDF format. So we can assist if you have Word documents and PDF documents. So we do have templates from the agencies for the administrative documents, but as far as the quality information in the master file, those documents you're going to have to prepare to provide the information about your product that's going to be helpful in support of the applications referencing your master file.
Thank you, Megan. Let's see, what's our next question? Ooh, will you write the documents for me?
Unfortunately, no. Our services are administrative only, so we can provide some guidance to make sure that the submission is administratively complete. When we prepare your submission in the correct format, we make sure that it's formatted correctly with no errors to help it go through with no issues to the agency. But as far as the technical information in the master file, you're going to be responsible for that.
Awesome, thank you. So the next question I have here is, what format do the files need to be provided? What file format?
In most cases, it's PDF format, and typically there are requirements for bookmarks and hyperlinks. That's something we can help with, making sure the documents are in the correct format. For certain agencies like Health Canada, they do want some documents in Word format. So usually providing Word documents is a good starting point, and especially for reports, they should be in PDF format.
Okay. I see another question. Ooh, I like this one. So this one, do I understand it correctly that you are able to transfer existing master files, say China or FDA DMFs?
I might need a little bit more information to correctly answer that. So like say for example, you have an FDA DMF and you want to submit your product to China. It's not going to be, you can't just take that submission and then submit it to China and have it be accepted. It has to be reformatted to meet the requirements of that agency. So as far as taking a master file from one agency to another, it's not quite so simple to do, but it is possible, to have one master file as a starting point and then have it reformatted and reorganized correctly for the other agency. Yeah.
It's much easier, if you don't mind me adding there, Megan. When an agency uses eCTD and the other one uses eCTD, there's certain modules where the information is very similar. And maybe the administrative one, module 1, is where a lot of things may be different. But even when agencies use eCTD, some of those requirements on how they format them can be different, which may require separating documents. But all these details, that's where our experts come in and they help you with that. So what's nice is you can write a file, you get it through one agency. If you're going to be working with another agency, we can help you with those nuances on how to use that file and apply it for another agency and just tweak it to meet their needs. So unfortunately, the agencies don't make it so you can just like use one and just submit it to all of them. But with our experts, we can help guide and give guidance in that respect with the administrative side. Okay, what's the next question? Next one here I have is, when should I file?
So if you have a customer that wants to reference your product, that's a good time to go ahead and submit your master file. So again, for certain agencies, unless a customer is going to reference your product, you're not going to be able to submit the master file. But again, for FDA, there's no requirement, so you can submit your master file at any time and then submit letters of access later when you have customers that want to reference that.
Awesome, thank you. I like this one. This one, in addition to what the requirements may be for the format, is there a language requirement?
Actually, yes. So with FDA, the documents need to be in English or have English translation. Health Canada, it could be in English or French. And I think for Europe, it's usually English. But if we're helping to compile and prepare the documents, and by that I mean making sure that they're in the correct format and have the right processing, then we would need the documents in English to be able to assist.
Thank you, Megan. Let's see, what's the next one? How long does it take to file?
Typically, processing the documents and preparing it in the correct format can take anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, depending on the size of your submission. So if you have something that's thousands of pages, it's going to take a lot longer than something that's hundreds of pages. And then once the submission is ready and compiled and it's submitted to an agency, so you typically get an electronic acknowledgement back within 24 hours. And then certain agencies, they do a little administrative review that takes a couple weeks afterwards, and then they give like an acknowledgement letter afterwards.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Got time for maybe about 1 or 2 more questions. Next one here is, when can I get approval from the agency?
Okay, so with master files, they don't get approved or disapproved by any agency. Either they determine that the master file has adequate information to support the application referencing the master file, or it does not, and they issue like deficiency letters. But master files themselves are not approval, and it doesn't mean if you have one that your product is approved or disapproved by an agency.
Awesome. Big thing with the master files is they're supplementing the application. The information that you're submitting in a master file, you would otherwise have to provide to your customer to then include in their application filing to the agency. And that's what's so unique about these master files, is the ability to keep that information from your customer who's filing an application. So that's why they're not approved, because they're supplementing one application, but they could be supplementing another application that might need other information. So even if for one application it may be considered acceptable, if you file with another one, they might need more information and put out a deficiency letter. So it'd be it's not just used for one application. And I think that's what makes this so unique. It's such a great question. Okay, so we have time for one more question. Oh, this is a good one. What is the fee?
Well, that depends on what kind of master file you're doing. So if you could email us at info@registrarcorp.com with your questions and more details about it so that we can give you a more accurate response.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. So that's all the time we have for questions today. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. We will send a copy of the recording, and we hope you have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.